Imagine discovering that your parents secretly spent your $40,000 inheritance on your brother's house down payment, then 6 months later knocked on your door expecting you to cover their rent because they were facing eviction. Today, I am sharing the incredible story of Jessica Martinez, whose journey from family financial betrayal to building a million-dollar business empire will completely transform how you think about boundaries, self-worth, and what it truly means to create your own success when the people who should support you most become your greatest obstacles. Before we jump back in, tell us where you're tuning in from, and if this story touches you, make sure you're subscribed, because tomorrow, I've saved something extra special for you. Jessica Martinez stared at the bank statement in her hands, reading the same line over and over again, hoping the numbers would somehow change if she concentrated hard enough. The account balance that should have shown $40,000 from her grandmother's inheritance displayed a stark zero. $40,000 had simply vanished, and the only authorized users on the account besides herself were her parents, Robert and Linda Martinez. The inheritance had represented everything to Jessica. At 26 years old, she had been working as a medical assistant at a busy family practice clinic in Phoenix, Arizona, earning enough to cover her basic expenses, but struggling to save meaningful amounts for her future goals. The money from her grandmother Elena's estate was supposed to be her foundation for purchasing her first home, potentially returning to school for advanced medical training, or perhaps starting the small healthcare consulting business she had been dreaming about since college. Elena Martinez had been the family matriarch, a woman who had immigrated from Guatemala 50 years earlier and built a successful catering business through decades of relentless work and careful financial management. She had always favored Jessica among her grandchildren, recognizing her granddaughter's ambitious spirit and dedication to helping others through her healthcare career. When Elena passed away 18 months earlier, she had specifically designated Jessica as the primary beneficiary of her savings account, understanding that Jessica would use the money wisely to build something meaningful for her future. The inheritance had come at a crucial time in Jessica's life. She had been living in a small apartment with 2 roommates, working long hours at the clinic while taking evening classes in healthcare administration. Her goal was to eventually open her own medical practice or healthcare consulting firm that could serve underserved communities throughout Arizona. The $40,000 represented the seed capital that could transform her dreams from aspirations into achievable goals. Jessica had trusted her parents completely when they suggested setting up a joint account to manage the inheritance money safely. Robert Martinez worked as a supervisor at a manufacturing plant, while Linda managed the office for a small accounting firm. They had always handled money responsibly throughout Jessica's childhood, paying their bills on time and maintaining steady employment despite modest incomes. When they explained that a joint account would provide additional security and help Jessica avoid potential tax complications, their reasoning seemed logical and protective. The decision to grant her parents access to the inheritance account had been motivated by Jessica's desire to honor the close family relationships that Elena had always emphasized as fundamental to their family values. Elena had frequently stressed the importance of family members supporting each other through both challenges and opportunities. Jessica believed that including her parents in the account management demonstrated her commitment to these values, while ensuring that her financial planning received guidance from more experienced adults. Robert and Linda had enthusiastically supported Jessica's plans for the inheritance money. They had spent hours discussing potential investment strategies, home purchasing options, and educational opportunities that could maximize the long-term value of Elena's gift. Their involvement had seemed genuinely helpful and encouraging, reinforcing Jessica's confidence in her decision to structure the account as a family collaboration rather than maintaining exclusive control over the funds. For 12 months following Elena's death, Jessica had been focused on completing her healthcare administration certification while working full-time at the clinic. She had assumed that the inheritance money was safely accumulating interest in the joint account while she developed clearer plans for its eventual use. The demands of her work and education schedule had prevented her from monitoring the account regularly, and she had trusted her parents to maintain oversight of the funds. During this busy period in her life, the devastating discovery occurred on a Saturday morning when Jessica finally had time to review her financial situation and begin making concrete plans for using the inheritance money. She had been promoted to lead medical assistant at the clinic, with a salary increase that would enable her to qualify for a mortgage loan if she used the inheritance money as a down payment. Excited about the possibility of homeownership, she had logged into the bank account, expecting to confirm the balance and begin the process of transferring funds for her house purchase. The empty account balance created immediate confusion and panic. Jessica's first assumption was that some kind of banking error had occurred, perhaps a computer glitch or administrative mistake that had temporarily affected the account display. She called the bank's customer service line, certain that a simple phone call would resolve the apparent discrepancy and restore her access to the inheritance funds. The customer service representative confirmed Jessica's worst fears. The $40,000 had been withdrawn through a series of transactions over the previous 6 months, all authorized by Robert Martinez using his joint account access privileges. The largest single withdrawal had been $35,000, transferred to another bank account belonging to someone named David Martinez. The remaining $5,000 had been withdrawn in smaller amounts through ATM transactions and debit card purchases. David Martinez was Jessica's older brother, 29 years old and chronically unable to maintain steady employment or financial stability. Throughout his adult life, David had cycled through various jobs in construction, retail, and food service, typically leaving each position after conflicts with supervisors or attendance problems. He had accumulated substantial credit card debt and had been living with their parents for the past 3 years after losing his apartment due to unpaid rent. Jessica immediately called her parents, demanding an explanation for the unauthorized use of her inheritance money. Linda answered the phone and became defensive when confronted about the missing funds. She insisted that the money had been used for important family needs and that Jessica was being selfish by questioning their decisions about how to allocate family resources. Linda explained that David had been given the opportunity to purchase a house at below market price, and the inheritance money had been used to help him secure this investment opportunity. Robert took the phone from Linda and attempted to justify their actions through a more detailed explanation of their reasoning. He explained that David had found a 3-bedroom house in a desirable neighborhood that was being sold by the owner's family following an estate sale. The asking price was significantly below market value, creating what Robert characterized as an exceptional investment opportunity that would benefit the entire family. David had needed exactly $35,000 for the down payment and closing costs, and Robert had determined that using Jessica's inheritance money for this purpose was the best financial decision for everyone involved. The logic Robert presented was that David's house purchase would provide stability for their son while creating a valuable asset that would ultimately benefit all family members. He argued that Jessica could live in the house if she needed housing. David would build equity rather than paying rent to strangers, and the property would appreciate in value over time, making it a superior investment compared to Jessica's original plans for the money. Robert insisted that they had acted in Jessica's best interests by securing this real estate opportunity before it became available to other buyers. Jessica listened to these explanations with growing anger and disbelief. Her parents had not consulted her before making this major financial decision. They had not asked for her permission to use her inheritance money for David's benefit. They had not even informed her that the money was being spent, allowing her to continue planning her future around funds that no longer existed. Most importantly, they had violated her trust and stolen her financial security to solve David's chronic inability to manage his own finances and career. When Jessica demanded that David immediately repay the $35,000 so she could pursue her own goals, Robert became angry and accusatory. He suggested that Jessica was being ungrateful for the family's efforts to make wise financial decisions on her behalf. He pointed out that David now owned a house worth significantly more than the inheritance money that had been spent, implying that the transaction had actually increased the value of Jessica's investment through David's real estate ownership. She emphasized that this situation was entirely beyond their control and represented the kind of unexpected challenge that could affect any responsible family despite careful planning and prudent financial management. Linda stressed that she and Robert had always been reliable providers for their children and had never previously required financial assistance from family members. Linda's explanation revealed that she and Robert were 3 months behind on their mortgage payments and facing foreclosure proceedings if they could not bring their account current within 30 days. The total amount needed to avoid foreclosure was $8,000, covering the past due payments plus penalty fees and legal costs associated with the foreclosure process. Additionally, they needed ongoing monthly assistance of $1,200 to bridge the gap between Robert's reduced income and their essential living expenses until his employment situation stabilized. The request for financial assistance was presented as a temporary family emergency that would be resolved once Robert's work schedule returned to normal and Linda's employer addressed their payroll difficulties. Linda emphasized that this support would be structured as a loan rather than a gift, with clear expectations for repayment once their financial situation improved. She suggested that Jessica's steady employment and lack of major financial obligations positioned her as the family member best able to provide this crucial assistance during their time of need. Jessica listened to this explanation with growing incredulity and anger. Her parents were requesting $8,000 in immediate assistance plus $1,200 monthly, totaling nearly $25,000 over the first year alone. This amount represented more than half of the inheritance money they had stolen from her to purchase David's house. They were essentially asking Jessica to provide financial support that exceeded the value of her lost inheritance, while offering no acknowledgement of their previous betrayal or commitment to addressing the underlying issues that had created their current crisis. When Jessica pointed out the obvious connection between their request and the inheritance money they had spent without her permission, Linda became defensive and suggested that these were entirely separate financial matters that should not be confused or conflated. She argued that David's house purchase had been a wise investment decision that benefited the entire family, while their current mortgage difficulties represented an unexpected emergency that required immediate family solidarity and support. Linda insisted that Jessica should focus on helping her parents maintain their housing stability rather than dwelling on past decisions that could not be changed. Robert took the phone to provide what he characterized as a more rational and strategic perspective on their financial request. He explained that Jessica's assistance would not only help her parents avoid foreclosure, but would also protect the family's overall financial stability and reputation in their community. He pointed out that foreclosure would damage Robert and Linda's credit ratings for many years, potentially affecting their ability to secure future housing or employment opportunities. Robert suggested that Jessica's financial support represented an investment in family stability that would ultimately benefit everyone. Robert also emphasized Jessica's moral obligation to assist her parents during their time of financial difficulty. He reminded her of the many years of support, education, and opportunities they had provided throughout her childhood and young adulthood. He characterized their current request as simply asking Jessica to reciprocate the financial support they had given her, noting that the total amount they were seeking was far less than the cumulative investment they had made in her upbringing, education, and career development. The conversation revealed several additional concerning aspects of Robert and Linda's financial management and family expectations. They had not consulted with David about providing financial assistance despite his ownership of a house that had been purchased with Jessica's inheritance money. They had not explored other alternatives for addressing their financial crisis, such as refinancing their mortgage, seeking assistance from social services, or reducing their living expenses through lifestyle changes. Most significantly, they had not acknowledged any responsibility for their role in creating their current financial difficulties or demonstrated any commitment to preventing similar crises in the future. When Jessica asked about David's potential contribution to resolving their parents' financial crisis, Robert explained that David was not in a position to provide monetary assistance because he was still adjusting to the responsibilities of homeownership and establishing his financial stability in his new situation. Robert noted that David's mortgage payment, property taxes, and home maintenance costs were substantial, leaving little room in his budget for additional family support. This explanation ignored the fact that David's housing situation had been secured through Jessica's inheritance money and that his current expenses were being covered through wealth that had been stolen from his sister. Linda returned to the phone to add emotional pressure to their financial request. She described the stress and anxiety that their mortgage difficulties were creating for both her and Robert. She explained that the threat of foreclosure was affecting Robert's job performance and her ability to concentrate on her work responsibilities. Linda emphasized the shame and embarrassment they would experience if they lost their house due to financial difficulties, particularly given their standing in their church community and neighborhood. She suggested that Jessica had the power to prevent this family catastrophe through her willingness to provide temporary financial assistance. The emotional manipulation became more explicit when Linda began describing the potential consequences of foreclosure for their future relationship with their children and grandchildren. She suggested that losing their house would eliminate their ability to host family gatherings and holiday celebrations. Linda worried that housing instability would prevent them from maintaining close relationships with their children and would deprive future grandchildren of the stable family environment that had been so important throughout Jessica and David's upbringing. Jessica recognized these emotional appeals as calculated manipulation designed to make her feel responsible for her parents' financial decisions and their potential consequences. Linda was attempting to transfer responsibility for adult financial management from herself and Robert to Jessica, while simultaneously portraying Jessica as selfish and unsupportive if she declined to provide the requested assistance. This manipulation strategy was consistent with their handling of the inheritance theft, where they had presented their unauthorized spending as beneficial family decision-making rather than acknowledging their violation of Jessica's trust and financial security. When Jessica explained that she could not provide the requested financial assistance because her parents had spent her inheritance money without permission, leaving her without adequate savings for emergencies or family support, Robert became angry and accusatory. He suggested that Jessica was using the inheritance situation as an excuse to avoid her family obligations and responsibilities. Robert argued that responsible adults should maintain emergency funds for family crises regardless of other financial considerations, implying that Jessica's inability to provide assistance indicated poor financial planning on her part. Linda rejoined the conversation to suggest that Jessica could obtain the necessary funds through various means if she was truly committed to helping her family. She pointed out that Jessica had stable employment and good credit that would enable her to secure personal loans or credit card advances. Linda noted that Jessica's rent was relatively low due to her roommate situation, suggesting that she could reduce her living expenses to free up money for family assistance. She also mentioned that Jessica could potentially work additional hours or find part-time employment to increase her income during this family emergency. These suggestions revealed Linda's expectation that Jessica should sacrifice her own financial security and stability to resolve problems created by her parents, financial mismanagement, and her brother's chronic inability to support himself. Linda was essentially asking Jessica to assume debt and increase her work burden to provide money that would supplement the inheritance funds her parents had already stolen. The underlying assumption was that Jessica's financial resources and earning capacity should be available to her family regardless of her own goals, needs, or previous financial losses due to their actions. Jessica's response to these demands marked a crucial turning point in her relationship with her parents and her understanding of her own boundaries and priorities. She explained clearly that she would not provide financial assistance to parents who had stolen her inheritance money and refused to acknowledge their betrayal or make efforts to repay what they had taken. She stated that their current financial crisis was not her responsibility and that their expectation of assistance was inappropriate given their previous violation of her trust and financial security. Robert and Linda reacted to Jessica's refusal, with shock and anger that revealed their fundamental misunderstanding of family relationships and financial responsibility. Linda rejoined the conversation to emphasize that family members should support each other during opportunities and challenges. She reminded Jessica that Elena had always stressed the importance of family cooperation and mutual assistance. Linda argued that using the inheritance money to help David purchase a house represented exactly the kind of family support that Elena would have approved of, since it provided stability and opportunity for one of her grandchildren while creating a valuable asset for the family. The phone conversation ended with Robert and Linda refusing to acknowledge any wrongdoing in their handling of Jessica's inheritance money. They maintained that their decisions had been appropriate and beneficial, and they suggested that Jessica should focus on the positive outcomes rather than dwelling on procedural complaints about consultation and authorization. They promised to discuss the situation further, but made no commitments about repaying the money or correcting what Jessica viewed as a fundamental betrayal of trust. Jessica spent the remainder of that Saturday in emotional turmoil, alternating between anger, disappointment, and confusion about how to respond to her family's actions. The inheritance money had represented her pathway to financial independence and professional advancement. Without those funds, her plans for home ownership, advanced education, and business development would require years of additional saving and preparation. More devastating than the financial loss was the realization that her parents had prioritized David's interests over her own, and had violated her trust in ways that fundamentally changed her understanding of her family relationships. Sunday brought additional complications when David called Jessica to thank her for what he characterized as her generous contribution to his house purchase. David seemed genuinely unaware that Jessica had not voluntarily participated in this financial arrangement. He enthusiastically described his new house, the improvements he was planning, and his excitement about finally achieving homeownership. When Jessica explained that she had not agreed to fund his house purchase and that her parents had used her money without permission, David became defensive and suggested that she was overreacting to what he viewed as a family investment decision. David's response revealed that Robert and Linda had presented the inheritance money usage as a collaborative family decision, rather than their independent choice to redirect Jessica's funds. David believed that Jessica had agreed to help him purchase the house as part of a family investment strategy. When Jessica insisted that she had never been consulted and had never agreed to this arrangement, David became confused and then angry, suggesting that Jessica was trying to create problems after the fact rather than honoring what he understood to be a family agreement. The conversation with David reinforced Jessica's growing understanding that her parents had not simply made a poor financial decision, but had actively deceived both her and David about the nature of the transaction. They had told David that Jessica was contributing to his house purchase, while simultaneously telling Jessica that they were making wise investment decisions on her behalf. This pattern of deception suggested calculated manipulation rather than misguided family financial planning. Monday morning brought Jessica's return to work at the medical clinic, where she struggled to maintain her professional focus while processing the emotional and financial implications of her family's betrayal. Her colleagues noticed her distraction and stress, but Jessica felt unable to explain the situation without revealing embarrassing details about her family's dysfunction and her own financial vulnerability. The inheritance money loss had eliminated her plans for professional advancement and forced her to reconsider her entire approach to career development and financial security. During her lunch break, Jessica called Elena's estate attorney to understand her legal options for recovering the inheritance money. The attorney explained that the joint account structure had legally authorized Robert's access to the funds, making it difficult to pursue criminal charges or civil recovery actions. However, the attorney suggested that Jessica might have grounds for a civil lawsuit based on breach of fiduciary duty, since Robert had used his account access for purposes other than Jessica's benefit, despite understanding that the money belonged to her. Preparing and narrating this story took us a lot of time, so if you are enjoying it, subscribe to our channel. It means a lot to us. Now back to the story. The legal consultation provided Jessica with technical options for pursuing recovery of her inheritance money, but the attorney emphasized that family financial disputes typically involved lengthy court proceedings, substantial legal costs, and uncertain outcomes. Even if Jessica ultimately prevailed in court, the legal process could take years and might not result in full recovery of her losses. The attorney recommended that Jessica first attempt to resolve the situation through family negotiations before considering more formal legal action. Jessica's evening was spent researching her options and developing a strategy for responding to her family's financial betrayal. She realized that the inheritance theft represented more than a simple monetary loss. Her parents had demonstrated that they viewed her financial security as less important than David's immediate needs. They had shown that they were willing to deceive and manipulate family members to achieve outcomes they preferred. Most significantly, they had revealed that Jessica could not trust them to act in her best interests when their priorities conflicted with her own. The implications extended beyond the immediate financial loss to Jessica's long-term relationship with her family and her approach to personal financial management. She would need to establish clear boundaries about financial interactions with family members. She would need to rebuild her savings and financial security without relying on family support or collaboration. Most importantly, she would need to develop independence and self-reliance that could protect her from future manipulation or betrayal by people she trusted. As Jessica prepared for sleep that Monday night, she made several crucial decisions that would shape her response to this crisis and ultimately determine her future success. She would not allow her family's betrayal to derail her professional and financial goals. She would use this experience as motivation to achieve even greater success than she had originally planned. She would transform her anger and disappointment into determination and strategic action. Most importantly, she would prove to herself and others that individual strength and persistence could overcome family dysfunction and financial manipulation. The inheritance theft had ended Jessica's naive trust in family financial cooperation, but it had also begun her journey toward complete independence and unprecedented personal achievement. The $40,000 that had been stolen from her would ultimately be replaced by wealth and success that far exceeded her original inheritance, built through her own efforts and strategic thinking rather than dependence on family resources or support. Wednesday morning brought an unexpected phone call from Linda that would test Jessica's resolve and further reveal her family's true priorities and expectations. Linda's voice carried a tone of urgency and stress that immediately indicated additional complications in their already strained family relationship. The conversation would prove to be another pivotal moment in Jessica's transformation from trusting family member to independent and strategic individual. The call would reveal that her parents' financial problems extended far beyond their unauthorized use of Jessica's inheritance money and their expectations for her future involvement in their financial difficulties would demonstrate the depth of their entitlement and manipulation. Jessica's response to these new demands would establish the boundaries and principles that would guide her journey toward remarkable personal and professional success. Wednesday morning's phone call from Linda Martinez arrived at 7:30, precisely when Jessica was preparing to leave for her shift at Desert Valley Medical Clinic. The timing was deliberate. Linda knew Jessica's schedule and understood that catching her daughter before work would create pressure to have a quick conversation rather than the extended discussion that this topic truly required. Linda's voice carried a combination of desperation and calculated manipulation that would have been recognizable to Jessica if she had not been rushing to gather her belongings and review her patient's schedule for the day. Linda began the conversation with superficial pleasantries about Jessica's work and health, but her tone quickly shifted to reveal the true purpose of her call. She explained that she and Robert were facing serious financial difficulties that threatened their housing stability and long-term security. The monthly mortgage payment on their house had increased significantly due to property tax adjustments and insurance premium changes. Robert's manufacturing plant had reduced overtime opportunities, creating a substantial decrease in his monthly income. Linda's employer was experiencing financial pressures that had resulted in reduced hours and delayed salary payments for office staff. The combination of increased housing costs and decreased income had created what Linda characterized as a temporary but urgent financial crisis that required immediate family assistance to resolve. They had expected that emotional manipulation and appeals to family loyalty would overcome Jessica's reasonable objections to providing money to people who had stolen from her. Their reaction demonstrated that they viewed Jessica as a financial resource rather than an independent individual with her own goals and needs. The phone conversation concluded with Robert issuing an ultimatum that would further damage their family relationship and strengthen Jessica's resolve to establish complete independence from their manipulation and dysfunction. He stated that Jessica would need to decide whether she valued money more than family relationships. Robert suggested that her refusal to help during their time of need would have permanent consequences for their future relationship and her standing within the family. He implied that other family members would be informed of Jessica's selfishness and unwillingness to support her parents during a crisis. Linda added her own threats about the consequences of Jessica's refusal to provide financial assistance. She suggested that Jessica should not expect future support or assistance from her parents if she was unwilling to help them during their current difficulties. Linda noted that family relationships required mutual support and cooperation, implying that Jessica's refusal to provide money would eliminate her right to expect emotional or practical support from her parents in the future. She suggested that Jessica was damaging family relationships that had taken years to build, and that would be difficult or impossible to repair. These threats and ultimatums confirmed Jessica's growing understanding that her parents viewed family relationships as transactional arrangements based on financial exchange rather than genuine emotional connections and mutual respect. Their willingness to threaten permanent estrangement over Jessica's refusal to provide money they had no right to expect demonstrated the manipulative and conditional nature of their affection and support. Jessica realized that maintaining relationships with people who viewed her as a financial resource rather than a valued family member would require constant sacrifice of her own interests and security. After ending the phone call, Jessica spent her commute to work processing the emotional and practical implications of her parents' demands and threats. The combination of inheritance theft and subsequent financial demands had created a clear pattern of financial exploitation that would continue indefinitely if she did not establish firm boundaries and consequences. Her parents had demonstrated that they would use emotional manipulation, threats, and family pressure to extract money from her whenever they faced financial difficulties or wanted to provide benefits to David. Jessica's workday at the medical clinic provided welcome distraction from her family drama, but the stress of the situation affected her ability to concentrate fully on her patient care responsibilities. Her supervising physician, Dr. Sarah Chen, noticed Jessica's distraction and invited her to discuss whatever personal issues might be affecting her work performance. Jessica initially hesitated to share personal family information with her supervisor, but Dr. Chen's genuine concern and professional discretion encouraged her to explain the general outline of her situation. Dr. Chen's response provided Jessica with valuable perspective and validation for her decision to refuse her parents' financial demands. As someone who had built a successful medical practice through years of education, hard work, and strategic planning, Dr. Chen understood the importance of financial boundaries and personal responsibility. She explained that family financial dysfunction could derail individual career development and achievement if it was not addressed through clear boundaries and consistent enforcement of reasonable expectations. Dr. Chen shared her own experience with family members who had attempted to exploit her professional success for their financial benefit. She described the difficulty of maintaining family relationships while refusing unreasonable financial demands, but emphasized that enabling family financial irresponsibility ultimately harmed both the individual and the family members who needed to learn accountability and self-sufficiency. Dr. Chen's perspective reinforced Jessica's understanding that protecting her own financial security was not selfish, but necessary for her long-term success and her ability to provide genuine help when it was truly needed and appropriate. The conversation with Dr. Chen also provided Jessica with insights about the potential career opportunities that might be available to someone with her combination of medical experience, administrative training, and personal motivation to achieve financial independence. Dr. Chen mentioned that the healthcare industry offered numerous opportunities for entrepreneurial individuals who could identify underserved markets and develop innovative service delivery approaches. She suggested that Jessica's background and determination positioned her well for eventual practice ownership or healthcare consulting if she continued developing her skills and building her financial resources. This professional validation and encouragement strengthened Jessica's resolve to focus on her own career development and financial goals rather than allowing her family's dysfunction to derail her progress. Dr. Chen's success story provided a concrete example of how individual determination and strategic planning could overcome family pressures and financial obstacles to achieve remarkable professional and financial achievement. Jessica began to envision possibilities for her future that extended far beyond her original plans and would demonstrate that her family's betrayal had actually motivated her to pursue even greater success than she had previously imagined possible. Jessica's evening was spent researching healthcare entrepreneurship opportunities and developing a more ambitious vision for her career development. The inheritance money that had been stolen could have provided a foundation for modest advancement, but the motivation created by her family's betrayal was inspiring her to pursue opportunities that would generate far greater wealth and success than her original plans. She began to understand that her parents' theft had inadvertently freed her from modest expectations and conventional approaches to career advancement. The 30-day ultimatum her parents had mentioned regarding their foreclosure proceedings provided Jessica with a clear timeline for observing the consequences of their financial mismanagement without her intervention. She recognized that watching her parents face the natural results of their decisions would provide valuable information about their true priorities and their willingness to take responsibility for their actions. Their response to financial consequences would determine whether any future relationship was possible and what boundaries would be necessary to maintain her own security and success. As Jessica prepared for sleep that Wednesday night, she felt a sense of clarity and determination that had been absent since discovering the inheritance theft. Her parents' demands had confirmed that they viewed her as a financial resource rather than a valued individual with her own goals and rights. Their threats and ultimatums had revealed the conditional and manipulative nature of their affection. Most importantly, their expectations had motivated her to pursue a level of success that would make their financial exploitation impossible and irrelevant to her future security and happiness. The transformation that would ultimately make Jessica financially independent and professionally successful had begun with her family's betrayal, but it was being accelerated by their continued attempts at manipulation and exploitation. Their theft of her inheritance money had been devastating, but their expectation that she would provide additional financial support had clarified her understanding of what complete independence would require and had strengthened her commitment to achieving success that would protect her from future family financial demands. 2 weeks had passed since Jessica's definitive refusal to provide financial assistance to her parents, and the silence from Robert and Linda Martinez had been both unexpected and revealing. Their absence of communication following their ultimatum suggested that they had either found alternative solutions to their financial crisis or were waiting to see if Jessica would reconsider her position when faced with the prospect of permanent family estrangement. The lack of continued pressure and manipulation provided Jessica with the mental space necessary to begin developing a comprehensive strategy for her personal and professional advancement. Jessica had spent those 2 weeks conducting extensive research into healthcare entrepreneurship opportunities, consulting regulations, and the financial requirements for establishing independent practice operations. Her investigation revealed that the healthcare industry contained numerous underserved market segments where innovative service delivery approaches could generate substantial revenue while providing genuine value to patients and healthcare providers. The inheritance money that had been stolen could have supported modest advancement, but the ambitious goals Jessica was now developing would require more sophisticated planning and execution. The most promising opportunity Jessica had identified involved healthcare consulting services for small medical practices struggling with administrative efficiency and regulatory compliance. During her 3 years at Desert Valley Medical Clinic, she had observed numerous operational challenges that created financial losses and decreased patient satisfaction. Many small practices lacked the expertise to optimize their administrative processes, implement effective patient management systems, or navigate the complex regulatory environment that governed healthcare operations. These deficiencies resulted in reduced profitability, increased stress for medical professionals, and diminished quality of patient care. Jessica's combination of medical assistant experience, healthcare administration education, and natural, analytical abilities positioned her uniquely to address these operational challenges. She understood both the clinical requirements and administrative demands that medical practices faced. Her educational background provided knowledge of regulatory compliance, insurance billing procedures, and practice management principles. Most importantly, her recent experience with family financial manipulation had sharpened her understanding of the importance of systematic planning, clear boundaries, and strategic thinking in all professional relationships. The business model Jessica envisioned would provide comprehensive consulting services to small medical practices seeking to improve their operational efficiency and financial performance. Services would include administrative process optimization, staff training programs, regulatory compliance auditing, patient management system implementation, and strategic planning for practice growth and development. The consulting approach would emphasize practical solutions that could be implemented with minimal disruption to ongoing patient care while producing measurable improvements in efficiency and profitability. Jessica's research revealed that healthcare consulting services typically commanded premium pricing due to the specialized knowledge required and the significant financial impact of operational improvements. Successful consultants in this field earned substantially more than traditional healthcare employees while maintaining flexible schedules and diverse professional experiences. The potential for geographic expansion and service line diversification meant that a successful healthcare consulting practice could generate wealth far exceeding what Jessica had originally planned to achieve through conventional career advancement. The financial requirements for establishing a healthcare consulting practice were substantial but achievable through strategic planning and phased implementation. Jessica would need professional certification in healthcare administration, comprehensive insurance coverage for consulting services, marketing materials and professional website development, and sufficient operating capital to support herself. During the initial client acquisition period, the total investment required would exceed the inheritance money that had been stolen, but the potential returns would be proportionally greater than her original modest goals for homeownership and career advancement. Jessica's first concrete step involved enrolling in an accelerated healthcare administration certification program offered through Arizona State University's evening and weekend schedule. The program would provide advanced credentials in healthcare, management, regulatory compliance, and business operations that would establish her credibility with potential consulting clients. The certification required 12 months of intensive study and a comprehensive examination, but successful completion would position Jessica as a qualified expert, capable of addressing complex operational challenges facing medical practices. The certification program tuition was $8,000, requiring Jessica to redirect funds she had been saving for apartment rent and living expenses. She negotiated with her roommates to assume additional household responsibilities in exchange for reduced rent contributions, enabling her to maintain housing stability while investing in her professional development. Jessica also arranged to work additional hours at Desert Valley Medical Clinic, taking on evening and weekend responsibilities that increased her income while providing additional exposure to practice management challenges that would inform her Future consulting services. Dr. Sarah Chen proved to be an invaluable mentor and advisor during Jessica's transition from employee to entrepreneur. When Jessica explained her plans for healthcare consulting practice development, Dr. Chen offered to serve as a professional reference and potential first client for Jessica's services. Dr. Chen's practice had been experiencing administrative challenges that were affecting profitability and patient satisfaction, creating an ideal opportunity for Jessica to demonstrate her consulting capabilities while earning initial revenue and developing case studies for future marketing efforts. The arrangement with Dr. Chen provided Jessica with practical experience addressing real operational challenges while generating income to support her certification program and business development activities. Jessica would work with Dr. Chen's practice to identify efficiency improvements, implement new administrative procedures, and develop staff training programs that would enhance overall practice performance. The consulting engagement would be structured as a pilot project that could serve as a foundation for Jessica's broader consulting practice development. Jessica's analysis of Dr. Chen's practice operations revealed several opportunities for significant improvement. The patient scheduling system was inefficient, resulting in appointment conflicts and extended waiting times that decreased patient satisfaction and reduced daily patient capacity. Insurance billing procedures were inconsistent, creating delays in payment processing and increasing the likelihood of claim denials. Staff responsibilities were poorly defined, leading to duplicated effort and inconsistent service delivery. Most importantly, the practice lacked systematic approaches to performance measurement and continuous improvement. The solutions Jessica developed addressed each of these operational challenges through comprehensive process redesign and staff training initiatives. She implemented a computerized scheduling system that optimized appointment allocation and reduced patient waiting times. Jessica redesigned insurance billing procedures to ensure accurate and timely claim submission, while establishing systematic follow-up protocols for denied or delayed payments. She developed clear job descriptions and responsibility matrices that eliminated duplicated effort while ensuring comprehensive coverage of all essential functions. The results of Jessica's consulting work with Dr. Chen's practice exceeded both of their expectations and provided compelling evidence of the value that professional healthcare consulting could deliver. Patient satisfaction scores improved significantly due to reduced waiting times and more consistent service delivery. Insurance payment processing became more efficient, improving cash flow and reducing administrative burden on clinical staff. Most importantly, the practice's monthly revenue increased by 18% within 3 months of implementing Jessica's recommendations, demonstrating the substantial financial impact that operational improvements could achieve. Dr. Chen's enthusiasm about Jessica's consulting results led to referrals to other medical professionals who were experiencing similar operational challenges. Word of Jessica's expertise spread through professional networks and medical associations, creating demand for her services that exceeded her capacity to respond while maintaining her full-time employment at Desert Valley Medical Clinic. The unexpected success of her initial consulting efforts required Jessica to accelerate her timeline for establishing independent practice operations and transitioning from employee to entrepreneur. The growing demand for Jessica's consulting services created both opportunities and challenges that required strategic decision-making about her career trajectory and business development priorities. She could continue working part-time as a consultant while maintaining employment security through her position at Desert Valley Medical Clinic, or she could commit fully to entrepreneurial consulting practice development with the associated risks and potential rewards of independent business ownership. The decision would determine whether Jessica achieved modest supplemental income through occasional consulting or built substantial wealth through systematic business development. Jessica's choice to pursue full-time consulting practice development represented a fundamental shift in her approach to career advancement and financial security. Rather than seeking gradual improvement through conventional employment progression, she was choosing to assume entrepreneurial risks in pursuit of exceptional rewards. This decision reflected her growing confidence in her abilities and her determination to achieve success that would make her completely independent of family financial dysfunction and manipulation. The business plan Jessica developed for her healthcare consulting practice included aggressive growth targets and geographic expansion strategies that would establish her as a recognized expert in medical practice optimization. She projected achieving annual revenue of $200,000 within 2 years through systematic client acquisition and service line development. The plan included provisions for hiring additional consultants and developing specialized expertise in emerging areas such as telemedicine implementation and value-based care transition strategies. Jessica's approach to client acquisition emphasized relationship building and referral generation rather than traditional advertising or marketing campaigns. She planned to establish her reputation through exceptional service delivery to initial clients, professional association participation, and speaking engagements at medical conferences and educational events. This strategy would position her as a thought leader in healthcare consulting, while building a sustainable client base that would support long-term business growth and development. The financial projections for Jessica's consulting practice indicated that successful implementation of her business plan would generate wealth far exceeding the inheritance money that had been stolen by her parents. Within 5 years, she projected achieving annual income of $500,000 through a combination of direct consulting services, training program development, and strategic partnerships with healthcare technology companies. The potential for eventual practice sale or expansion into additional markets could multiply these returns substantially. Jessica's transformation from betrayed family member to ambitious entrepreneur required developing new skills and perspectives that extended beyond technical expertise in healthcare administration. She enrolled in business development courses that addressed sales techniques, financial management, marketing strategy, and leadership development. Jessica also began networking with successful entrepreneurs and business leaders who could provide guidance and support during her transition from employee to business owner. The personal development aspect of Jessica's entrepreneurial journey proved to be as important as the technical and financial components. Building a successful consulting practice required confidence, persistence, and strategic thinking that could overcome obstacles and setbacks inherent in business development. Jessica's experience with family betrayal and financial manipulation had developed her resilience and determination, but entrepreneurial success would require additional emotional and psychological skills that she was committed to developing through systematic effort and continuous learning. The contrast between Jessica's ambitious planning and her family's continued financial dysfunction became increasingly apparent as she progressed toward her entrepreneurial goals. While Jessica was investing in education, developing professional relationships, and building the foundation for substantial business success, her parents remained focused on short-term financial solutions and continued dependency on others for their security and stability. The difference in their approaches to financial challenges illustrated the fundamental differences in mindset and values that had led to their conflicts. Jessica's commitment to achieving exceptional success through her own efforts rather than seeking assistance from others represented a conscious rejection of the victim mentality that her family had adopted in response to their financial difficulties. Instead of seeking sympathy and support for problems created by poor decision-making, Jessica was taking responsibility for creating solutions that would ensure her future security and independence. This approach reflected the personal growth and maturity that had emerged from her experience with family betrayal. The 30-day timeline that Robert and Linda had mentioned regarding their foreclosure proceedings was approaching, but Jessica had not received any updates about their situation or requests for reconsideration of her refusal to provide financial assistance. The silence suggested that they had either resolved their financial crisis through alternative means or were preparing to face foreclosure while maintaining their position that Jessica was responsible for their difficulties. Either outcome would provide valuable information about their true priorities and their willingness to accept responsibility for their financial decisions. Jessica's focus had shifted completely from her family's drama to her own strategic planning and goal achievement. The energy and attention that had been consumed by anger and disappointment over the inheritance theft were now directed toward productive activities that would generate exceptional returns on her investment of time and effort. The emotional healing that had occurred through purposeful action and future-focused planning demonstrated the power of transforming adversity into motivation for unprecedented achievement. As Jessica completed her third week of preparation for full-time consulting practice development, she felt a sense of excitement and anticipation that had been absent from her life since discovering her family's betrayal. The vision she had developed for her future success far exceeded her original goals and would position her as completely independent of family financial dysfunction. Most importantly, her journey toward entrepreneurial achievement would demonstrate that exceptional success was possible through individual determination and strategic action, regardless of family support or opposition. The foundation that Jessica had built through systematic planning, professional development, and strategic relationship building would support the next phase of her transformation from healthcare employee to successful entrepreneur. Her commitment to achieving financial independence through her own efforts rather than depending on others would soon be tested through the challenges and opportunities inherent in business ownership and client service delivery. 6 weeks had elapsed since Jessica Martinez submitted her resignation notice at Desert Valley Medical Clinic, and the transition from employee to independent healthcare consultant had proven more challenging and rewarding than her most optimistic projections had anticipated. The decision to leave steady employment represented the most significant professional risk Jessica had ever undertaken. But the early results of her consulting practice development had validated her strategic analysis and demonstrated the exceptional potential for financial independence through entrepreneurial achievement. Jessica's final day at Desert Valley Medical Clinic had been marked by unexpected recognition from colleagues and supervisors who had observed her professional growth and commitment to excellence throughout her 3 years of employment. Dr. A. Sarah Chen organized a farewell gathering that included presentations from staff members who had benefited from Jessica's training initiatives and process improvement recommendations. The event reinforced Jessica's confidence in her ability to provide valuable consulting services while highlighting the professional relationships that would support her transition to independent practice operations. The most significant development during Jessica's final weeks at the clinic involved a comprehensive consulting proposal from Phoenix Regional Healthcare Network, a consortium of 12 independent medical practices seeking coordinated administrative, optimization, and regulatory compliance improvements. The scope of work represented Jessica's largest potential client engagement and would provide sufficient revenue to support her consulting practice operations for the entire first year of business development. The proposal requested detailed operational analysis, staff training program development, and implementation support for computerized practice management systems across all consortium member practices. Jessica's response to the Phoenix Regional Healthcare Network opportunity required developing capabilities and resources that exceeded her current operational capacity. The project scope demanded extensive travel throughout the Phoenix metropolitan area, coordination with multiple practice administrators and medical professionals, and development of customized solutions that address the specific challenges facing each individual practice while maintaining consistency across the consortium. Successfully completing this engagement would establish Jessica's reputation as a premier healthcare consultant capable of managing complex, multi-site operational improvement initiatives. The financial terms proposed by Phoenix Regional Healthcare Network exceeded Jessica's most ambitious revenue projections for her first year of independent consulting operations. The consortium offered a comprehensive service contract valued at $180,000. Structured as monthly payments over 12 months, with performance bonuses based on measurable improvements in operational efficiency and financial performance. The contract terms included provisions for potential expansion to additional practices within the regional network, creating opportunities for sustained revenue growth and long-term client relationship development. Jessica's acceptance of the Phoenix Regional Healthcare Network contract required immediate investment in professional infrastructure and operational capabilities that would support multi-site consulting delivery. She established a formal business entity, JM Healthcare Solutions LLC, with comprehensive professional liability insurance, sophisticated project management systems, and marketing materials that reflected her expertise and commitment to exceptional client service. The business infrastructure development consumed most of Jessica's available savings, but positioned her consulting practice as a legitimate and professional operation capable of serving large healthcare organizations. The initial phase of Jessica's work with Phoenix Regional Healthcare Network involved conducting comprehensive operational assessments at all 12 member practices to identify efficiency improvement opportunities and develop customized implementation strategies. The assessment process required Jessica to spend extensive time at each practice location, observing workflows, interviewing staff members, analyzing financial performance data, and documenting current procedures and systems. The detailed analysis enabled Jessica to develop sophisticated understanding of the operational challenges facing different types of medical practices, while building relationships with key personnel who would support implementation efforts. Jessica's assessment findings revealed consistent patterns of operational inefficiency across all consortium member practices, despite significant differences in practice size, specialty focus, and patient demographics. Administrative procedures were poorly standardized, resulting in inconsistent service delivery and increased likelihood of errors that affected patient satisfaction and financial performance. Staff training was inadequate, creating situations where personnel were performing responsibilities without comprehensive understanding of best practices or regulatory requirements. Technology utilization was suboptimal, with practices failing to leverage available systems capabilities that could significantly improve efficiency and accuracy. The solutions Jessica developed addressed these operational challenges through comprehensive process redesign, systematic staff training initiatives, and strategic technology implementation that maximized the value of existing investments while identifying opportunities for additional improvements. Her approach emphasized practical solutions that could be implemented without disrupting ongoing patient care operations while producing measurable improvements in efficiency, accuracy, and financial performance. The implementation strategy included detailed timelines, resource requirements, and performance measurement protocols that would demonstrate the value of consulting services through quantifiable results. The first practice to implement Jessica's recommendations was Mesa Family Medicine, a 6-physician practice serving a diverse patient population in a rapidly growing suburban community. The practice had been experiencing significant challenges with appointment scheduling, insurance billing efficiency, and patient communication that were affecting both financial performance and patient satisfaction ratings. Jessica's recommendations included computerized scheduling system optimization, insurance billing procedure standardization, and patient communication protocol development that addressed each of these operational challenges. The results achieved at Mesa Family Medicine exceeded both Jessica's projections and the practice management team's expectations, providing compelling evidence of the value that professional healthcare consulting could deliver. Patient appointment scheduling became significantly more efficient, reducing average waiting times by 35% while increasing daily patient capacity by 12%. Insurance billing accuracy improved dramatically, reducing claim denial rates by 40% and accelerating payment processing by an average of 8 days. Patient satisfaction scores increased substantially due to improved communication and reduced administrative errors that had previously created frustration and confusion. The financial impact of Jessica's consulting work at Mesa Family Medicine was even more impressive than the operational improvements, demonstrating the substantial return on investment that healthcare consulting services could provide. Monthly practice revenue increased by 22% within 4 months of implementing Jessica's recommendations, while administrative costs decreased by 15% due to improved efficiency and reduced error correction requirements. The practice's net profitability improved by 38%, creating additional resources for staff compensation improvements and facility upgrades that would further enhance patient care capabilities. Dr. Michael Rodriguez, the senior partner at Mesa Family Medicine, became one of Jessica's strongest advocates within the Phoenix Regional Healthcare Network Consortium, providing testimonials and case study information that supported her consulting work with other member practices. His endorsement emphasized the practical value of Jessica's recommendations and the professional manner in which she had managed the implementation process with minimal disruption to ongoing patient care operations. Dr. Rodriguez's support proved invaluable in building credibility and trust with other consortium members who were initially skeptical about the potential benefits of external consulting services. The success achieved at Mesa Family Medicine created momentum for Jessica's work with other consortium member practices and validated her strategic approach to healthcare consulting service delivery. Word of the exceptional results spread throughout the regional healthcare community, generating interest from practices outside the consortium who were experiencing similar operational challenges. Jessica found herself in the enviable position of having more potential client opportunities than she could reasonably manage while maintaining quality standards and client service commitments. The growing demand for Jessica's consulting services required strategic decisions about business expansion and service delivery capacity that would determine the long-term trajectory of her entrepreneurial development. She could maintain a smaller practice focused on providing personalized service to a limited number of high-quality clients, or she could expand operations through hiring additional consultants and developing systematic service delivery processes that would enable growth while maintaining quality standards. The decision would affect both her potential income and her level of personal involvement in client service delivery. Jessica's choice to pursue systematic business expansion reflected her growing confidence in her consulting methodology and her desire to maximize the impact of her professional expertise throughout the healthcare industry. She developed detailed plans for hiring and training additional healthcare consultants who could deliver services using her proven approaches while maintaining the quality standards that had generated exceptional results for initial clients. The expansion strategy included development of standardized assessment procedures, implementation protocols, and training materials that would ensure consistency across multiple consultants and client engagements. The business expansion required additional investment in operational infrastructure, staff recruitment and training, and marketing initiatives that would support sustained growth while maintaining profitability. Jessica secured a business line of credit that provided working capital for expansion activities while preserving cash flow flexibility during the growth phase. She also established strategic partnerships with healthcare technology vendors and professional service providers that could support her clients' implementation needs while generating additional revenue streams for her consulting practice. Jessica's first hiring decision involved recruiting Dr. Amanda Foster, a healthcare administrator with extensive experience in practice management and regulatory compliance, who had been seeking opportunities to transition from employment to consulting. Practice development. Dr. Foster's background complemented Jessica's operational expertise while providing additional credibility and service delivery capacity that would enable expansion of the consulting practice's client base and service offerings. The partnership arrangement provided Dr. Foster with mentorship and business development support while giving Jessica access to additional expertise and consulting capacity. The collaboration between Jessica and Dr. Foster proved exceptionally productive, combining Jessica's innovative operational improvement approaches with Dr. Foster's deep knowledge of healthcare regulation and compliance requirements. Together, they developed comprehensive service offerings that addressed the full spectrum of operational challenges facing modern medical practices, from basic administrative efficiency to complex regulatory compliance and strategic planning initiatives. The expanded service capabilities enabled them to pursue larger consulting engagements and more sophisticated client relationships that generated higher revenue and greater professional satisfaction. The success of Jessica's consulting practice expansion attracted attention from healthcare industry publications and professional associations that recognized her innovative approaches to practice management and operational improvement. Healthcare Business Journal featured Jessica in a cover story about emerging leaders in healthcare consulting, highlighting her rapid business growth and the exceptional results she had achieved for client practices. The article emphasized her systematic approach to operational analysis and her commitment to delivering measurable improvements that enhanced both financial performance and patient care quality. Professional recognition through industry publications and speaking engagements at healthcare conferences established Jessica as a thought leader in medical practice optimization and positioned her consulting practice as a premier service provider within the southwestern healthcare market. The enhanced reputation generated additional client referrals and consulting opportunities that exceeded her current capacity to respond, creating the need for further business expansion and strategic planning to manage growth effectively while maintaining service quality standards. The financial results of Jessica's first year as an independent healthcare consultant exceeded her most optimistic projections and demonstrated the exceptional potential for wealth creation through entrepreneurial consulting practice development. Her consulting practice generated gross revenue of $320,000 during the first 12 months of operations, with net profitability of 68% after accounting for business expenses and infrastructure investments. The financial performance positioned Jessica as earning substantially more than she had projected achieving through conventional career advancement over many years of employment progression. More significantly, the business equity Jessica had built through her consulting practice development represented substantial wealth creation that provided financial security and independence, far exceeding what her stolen inheritance money could have achieved through conservative investment approaches. The business valuation, based on revenue multiples typical for professional service firms, indicated that Jessica had created an asset worth approximately $800,000 through her entrepreneurial efforts. The value represented 20 times the inheritance money that had been stolen by her parents, demonstrating the extraordinary returns possible through strategic thinking and persistent effort. Jessica's personal transformation through entrepreneurial success had affected every aspect of her life, from her professional identity and financial security to her confidence and sense of personal autonomy. The young woman who had discovered her inheritance theft 18 months earlier had evolved into a successful business owner, recognized as an expert in her field and capable of generating exceptional income through her own efforts and expertise. The journey from victim of family financial manipulation to accomplished entrepreneur had required courage, strategic thinking, and persistent effort, but the results had validated her decision to transform adversity into motivation for unprecedented achievement. The contrast between Jessica's remarkable success and her family's continued financial dysfunction had become increasingly apparent as her consulting practice flourished, while Robert and Linda Martinez faced the consequences of their poor financial decisions and refusal to accept responsibility for their situation. Jessica had not received any communication from her parents since her refusal to provide financial assistance 6 months earlier, but she had learned through mutual family friends that they had indeed lost their house to foreclosure and were currently living in a small apartment while struggling with reduced income and damaged credit ratings. David Martinez had also experienced financial difficulties related to the house purchased with Jessica's inheritance money, as his chronic employment instability had made mortgage payments challenging and property maintenance costs had exceeded his limited resources. The house that Robert and Linda had characterized as a wise family investment was now facing potential foreclosure due to David's inability to maintain consistent income and his lack of understanding about the financial responsibilities associated with homeownership. The situation demonstrated the predictable consequences of using stolen money to enable irresponsible behavior rather than addressing underlying problems with accountability and systemic change. Jessica's response to learning about her family's continued financial struggles reflected the emotional maturity and strategic thinking she had developed through her entrepreneurial journey. Rather than feeling satisfaction about their difficulties or considering providing assistance that would enable continued irresponsibility. She recognized their situation as the natural consequence of poor decision-making and refused to accept any responsibility for problems they had created through their own choices. Her focus remained centered on her own continued success and growth, rather than being distracted by family drama and dysfunction. The wisdom Jessica had gained through her experience with family financial betrayal and subsequent entrepreneurial success had prepared her for the next phase of her journey, which would involve even greater challenges and opportunities as her consulting practice continued to expand and evolve. The foundation she had built through systematic planning, exceptional service delivery, and strategic relationship development would support future growth initiatives that could establish her as a regional leader in healthcare consulting, while generating wealth that would ensure complete financial independence and security. 14 months into her independent consulting practice, Jessica Martinez received an unexpected phone call that would fundamentally alter the trajectory of her business development and establish her as a dominant force in Southwestern healthcare consulting. The caller was Dr. Rebecca Thompson, Chief Executive Officer of Southwest Healthcare Alliance, a network of 47 medical practices spanning Arizona, New Mexico, and Nevada. Dr. Thompson had been monitoring Jessica's work with Phoenix Regional Healthcare Network and had received detailed reports about the exceptional operational improvements and financial results achieved through her consulting interventions. Southwest Healthcare Alliance represented one of the largest independent practice networks in the region, serving over 200,000 patients through primary care, specialty medicine, and urgent care facilities across 3 states. The network had been experiencing significant operational challenges that were affecting member practice profitability and threatening the viability of several smaller facilities in rural communities. Dr. Thompson explained that traditional healthcare consulting firms had failed to deliver meaningful improvements despite substantial consulting fees and extended engagement periods. The specific challenges facing Southwest Healthcare Alliance were complex and multifaceted, requiring sophisticated analytical capabilities and innovative solution development that exceeded the scope of Jessica's previous consulting engagements. Member practices were struggling with inconsistent operational procedures that created inefficiencies and quality control problems across the network. Revenue cycle management was poorly coordinated, resulting in delayed payments and increased administrative costs that affected overall network profitability. Staff training and development programs were inadequate, creating variations in service quality that compromised patient satisfaction and clinical outcomes. Dr. Thompson's proposal involved a comprehensive transformation initiative that would standardize operational procedures across all network practices while respecting the individual characteristics and community needs that made each practice unique and valuable. The engagement would require developing centralized administrative support systems, implementing coordinated staff training programs, and establishing performance measurement protocols that would enable continuous improvement and quality assurance throughout the network. The scope of work represented the largest healthcare consulting project in the region and would establish Jessica as a recognized leader in large-scale practice network optimization. The financial terms proposed by Southwest Healthcare Alliance reflected the magnitude and complexity of the transformation initiative while providing Jessica with unprecedented revenue opportunities that would accelerate her business growth and establish sustainable competitive advantages in the healthcare consulting market. The network offered a 3-year consulting contract valued at $2.4 million, structured as quarterly payments with performance bonuses based on measurable improvements in operational efficiency, financial performance, and patient satisfaction across the network. Jessica's initial response to the Southwest Healthcare Alliance opportunity combined excitement about the professional challenge with careful consideration of the operational requirements and strategic implications for her consulting practice development. Successfully managing this engagement would require substantial expansion of her consulting team, development of sophisticated project management capabilities, and establishment of operational infrastructure that could support multi-state service. delivery while maintaining the quality standards that had generated her reputation for exceptional results. The decision to pursue the Southwest Healthcare Alliance contract required Jessica to transition from small business owner to regional consulting firm leader, accepting increased complexity and responsibility while pursuing opportunities for exponential growth and market dominance. She spent 3 weeks developing a comprehensive proposal that addressed every aspect of the network transformation initiative, while demonstrating her understanding of the operational challenges and her capability to deliver measurable results across 47 diverse practice locations. Jessica's proposal emphasized her proven methodology for operational assessment and improvement implementation, supported by detailed case studies from her previous consulting engagements and testimonials from satisfied clients who had achieved exceptional results through her recommendations. The proposal included innovative approaches to network-wide standardization that would preserve practice autonomy while achieving operational consistency and efficiency improvements. Most importantly, Jessica's proposal demonstrated her commitment to delivering value that would justify the substantial investment Southwest Healthcare Alliance was considering for their transformation initiative. The presentation of Jessica's proposal to Southwest Healthcare Alliance leadership took place at their corporate headquarters in Scottsdale, where she addressed the network's board of directors and senior management team in a comprehensive session that demonstrated her expertise and professionalism. Jessica's presentation combined sophisticated analytical insights with practical implementation strategies that addressed the specific challenges facing the network while providing clear pathways to measurable improvement and sustainable competitive advantage. The board's decision to award the consulting contract to Jessica represented validation of her expertise and recognition of her potential to deliver exceptional results for large-scale healthcare transformation initiatives. Dr. Thompson noted that Jessica's combination of proven results, innovative thinking, and practical implementation experience distinguished her from larger consulting firms that offered theoretical frameworks without demonstrated capability to achieve meaningful operational improvements. The contract award established Jessica as the preferred consulting partner for Southwest Healthcare Alliance and positioned her for continued growth throughout the regional healthcare market. Jessica's acceptance of the Southwest Healthcare Alliance contract required immediate and substantial expansion of her consulting practice to support the operational requirements of managing 47 practice locations across 3 states. She developed a comprehensive hiring plan that would add 12 healthcare consultants with specialized expertise in different aspects of practice management and operational improvement. The recruitment strategy emphasized identifying professionals with proven track records in healthcare administration, regulatory compliance, and change management who could contribute immediately to client service delivery while learning Jessica's proprietary consulting methodology. The expansion of JM Healthcare Solutions required establishing regional offices in Albuquerque, New Mexico, and Las Vegas, Nevada, to support local presence and relationship development throughout the Southwest. Healthcare Alliance Network. Jessica invested substantial capital in office space, technology infrastructure, and professional development resources that would enable her expanded consulting team to deliver coordinated services across multiple states while maintaining communication and quality standards consistent with her established reputation for excellence. Dr. Amanda Foster assumed responsibility for managing the New Mexico operations, while Jessica recruited Dr. Patricia Williams, a former hospital administrator with extensive experience in multi-site healthcare management, to lead the Nevada consulting team. The leadership structure Jessica established provided regional autonomy and accountability while ensuring coordination and consistency across all consulting engagements. Regular communication protocols and standardized service delivery procedures maintained quality control and client satisfaction throughout the expanded operation. The implementation of the Southwest Healthcare Alliance Transformation Initiative began with comprehensive assessment activities at all 47 network practices, requiring coordinated effort from Jessica's entire consulting team over a 4-month period. The assessment process involved detailed analysis of operational procedures, financial performance data, staffing patterns, and patient satisfaction metrics at each practice location. The comprehensive data collection enabled Jessica's team to identify network-wide patterns and practice-specific challenges that would inform customized improvement strategies for each facility. The assessment findings revealed significant opportunities for operational improvement and cost reduction throughout the Southwest Healthcare Alliance network, validating Dr. Thompson's decision to pursue comprehensive transformation rather than continuing with incremental improvement efforts. Administrative procedures varied dramatically across practice locations, creating inefficiencies and quality control problems that affected both financial performance and patient satisfaction. Technology utilization was inconsistent, with many practices failing to leverage available system capabilities that could significantly improve efficiency and accuracy. Jessica's team developed a phased implementation strategy that would address network-wide standardization requirements while respecting the individual characteristics and community relationships that made each practice valuable to patients and local healthcare providers. The strategy emphasized practical solutions that could be implemented without disrupting ongoing patient care operations while producing measurable improvements in efficiency, quality, and financial performance. The implementation timeline included detailed milestones and performance measurement protocols that would demonstrate progress and enable continuous adjustment of improvement strategies. The first phase of implementation focused on standardizing administrative procedures and staff training programs across all network practices, creating consistent service delivery protocols that would improve patient satisfaction while reducing operational costs. Jessica's team developed comprehensive training materials, and conducted on-site workshops that educated staff members about best practices in patient communication, appointment scheduling, insurance billing, and regulatory compliance. The standardized procedures eliminated variations in service quality while enabling more efficient resource utilization throughout the network. The results achieved during the initial implementation phase exceeded Southwest Healthcare Alliance expectations, and provided compelling evidence of the value that comprehensive consulting services could deliver for large healthcare networks. Patient satisfaction scores improved significantly across all practice locations due to more consistent service delivery and reduced administrative errors. Insurance billing efficiency increased substantially, reducing claim denial rates and accelerating payment processing throughout the network. Most importantly, operational costs decreased by an average of 12% across all practices, while service quality and patient access improved measurably. The financial impact of Jessica's consulting work with Southwest Healthcare Alliance demonstrated the substantial return on investment that professional healthcare consulting could provide for large practice networks. Network-wide revenue increased by 18% during the first year of implementation, while operational costs decreased due to improved efficiency and standardized procedures. The improvement in net profitability enabled Southwest Healthcare Alliance to invest in facility upgrades, technology improvements, and staff compensation enhancements that further improved their competitive position and patient care capabilities. Dr. Thompson's satisfaction with Jessica's performance and results led to additional consulting opportunities within the broader healthcare community as word of the Southwest Healthcare Alliance transformation success spread throughout the industry. Healthcare systems, hospital networks, and medical associations began requesting consultations about operational improvement and transformation initiatives that could benefit from Jessica's proven methodology and implementation expertise. Demand for her services expanded beyond practice management consulting to include strategic planning, merger integration, and healthcare technology implementation support. The success of the Southwest Healthcare Alliance engagement established Jessica as a recognized expert in large-scale healthcare transformation and positioned her consulting practice as a premier service provider for complex organizational improvement initiatives. Industry publications featured detailed case studies of her work, emphasizing the innovative approaches and exceptional results that distinguished her consulting services from traditional healthcare management consulting offerings. Professional associations invited Jessica to present keynote speeches at national conferences, further enhancing her reputation and generating additional business development opportunities. Jessica's personal net worth had increased dramatically through the growth of her consulting practice and the equity value created through successful business development. The consulting contracts and retainer agreements she had secured provided predictable revenue streams that supported continued business expansion while generating substantial personal income that far exceeded her original career expectations. The business valuation of JM Healthcare Solutions had increased to approximately $3.2 million based on revenue multiples and growth projections, representing wealth creation that exceeded her stolen inheritance by a factor of 80. The contrast between Jessica's remarkable entrepreneurial success and her family's continued financial struggles had become even more pronounced as her consulting practice achieved regional prominence, while Robert, Linda, and David Martinez faced ongoing consequences of their financial irresponsibility and poor decision-making. Jessica had learned through mutual acquaintances that her parents were now living in subsidized housing and struggling with employment instability, while David had lost the house purchased with her inheritance money and was residing in a mobile home park outside Phoenix. The information about her family's circumstances generated neither satisfaction nor sympathy from Jessica, who had evolved beyond emotional investment in their situation and focused exclusively on her own continued growth and achievement. She recognized their financial difficulties as the predictable outcome of their choices and refused to consider any involvement in their problems. Her energy and attention remained directed toward business development opportunities and personal goals that would establish her as a dominant force in healthcare consulting while ensuring complete financial independence and security. Jessica's strategic planning for the next phase of her business development included potential acquisition opportunities that would accelerate her growth and market penetration throughout the southwestern United States. She had identified several smaller healthcare consulting firms with complementary expertise and established client relationships that could enhance her service offerings while expanding her geographic reach and market presence. The acquisition strategy would enable rapid expansion while leveraging her proven business model and operational expertise. The foundation Jessica had built through systematic business development, exceptional service delivery, and strategic relationship management had positioned her consulting practice for continued exponential growth and market leadership. Her transformation, from victim of family financial betrayal to regional healthcare consulting leader, demonstrated the extraordinary potential for wealth creation and professional achievement through entrepreneurial determination and strategic thinking. The journey that had begun with the theft of $40,000 had evolved into the creation of a multi-million-dollar enterprise that provided financial security and professional recognition, far exceeding her original aspirations. The wisdom and resilience Jessica had developed through overcoming family betrayal and building entrepreneurial success had prepared her for the increasingly complex challenges and opportunities that would accompany her evolution from regional consultant to national healthcare transformation leader. Her commitment to excellence, innovation, and ethical business practices would continue to drive exceptional results while establishing sustainable competitive advantages that would ensure long-term success and market dominance in the healthcare consulting industry. 18 months after securing the Southwest Healthcare Alliance contract, Jessica Martinez found herself facing the most significant strategic decision of her entrepreneurial journey. The remarkable success of her consulting practice had attracted attention from national healthcare organizations and private equity firms seeking to capitalize on the growing demand for specialized practice management consulting services. Simultaneously, several smaller consulting firms throughout the western United States had approached Jessica about potential acquisition opportunities that could accelerate her geographic expansion while providing immediate access to established client relationships and specialized expertise. The catalyst for these strategic considerations emerged during a board meeting with Southwest Healthcare Alliance leadership. where Dr. Rebecca Thompson presented preliminary findings from an independent evaluation of the network transformation results achieved through Jessica's consulting engagement. The assessment, conducted by Healthcare Performance Analytics, a nationally recognized healthcare research organization, documented exceptional improvements across all measured performance indicators and positioned Jessica's work as a benchmark. Case study for large-scale practice network optimization initiatives. The evaluation revealed that Southwest Healthcare Alliance had achieved a 32% improvement in operational efficiency across all 47 network practices, significantly exceeding industry standards for comparable transformation initiatives. Patient satisfaction scores had increased by 28% network-wide, while staff retention rates improved by 41% due to enhanced workplace organization and professional development opportunities. Most significantly, the network's financial performance had improved by 45% during the 18-month implementation period, generating additional revenue of approximately $14 million while reducing operational costs by nearly $6 million. Dr. Thompson emphasized that these results represented the most successful healthcare transformation initiative ever documented by Healthcare Performance Analytics in their 15-year history of evaluating practice improvement programs. The magnitude of improvement achieved through Jessica's consulting services had attracted attention from healthcare industry leaders, academic researchers, and investment organizations seeking to understand and replicate her methodology throughout the broader healthcare market. The recognition positioned Jessica as a leading authority on healthcare practice optimization and created unprecedented opportunities for business expansion and market penetration. The first major strategic opportunity came from Meridian Capital Partners, a private equity firm specializing in healthcare service investments, which proposed a partnership structure that would provide substantial capital for aggressive expansion, while allowing Jessica to maintain operational control and strategic direction of her consulting practice. The partnership would involve a $25 million investment in exchange for a 40% equity stake in JM Healthcare Solutions, with provisions for additional capital infusions based on performance milestones and growth targets established through mutual agreement. Meridian Capital Partners had conducted extensive due diligence on Jessica's consulting practice, analyzing client contracts, financial performance data, and market positioning relative to competitors throughout the healthcare consulting industry. Their investment proposal reflected recognition that Jessica had developed proprietary methodologies and established market credibility that could support rapid expansion into national markets with appropriate capital and operational support. The partnership structure would enable Jessica to pursue acquisition opportunities and geographic expansion that would be impossible through organic growth alone. The second strategic opportunity involved acquisition discussions with three established healthcare consulting firms that had complementary expertise and client relationships throughout California, Texas, and the Pacific Northwest. The firms represented potential targets for consolidation that would immediately expand Jessica's geographic reach while providing access to specialized capabilities in areas such as healthcare technology implementation, regulatory compliance, consulting, and physician practice valuation services. The acquisition strategy would create a comprehensive healthcare consulting platform capable of serving clients throughout the Western United States. Strategic healthcare consultants, based in Los Angeles, represented the largest and most attractive acquisition target, with annual revenue of approximately $8 million and established relationships with major hospital systems and medical groups throughout California. The firm specialized in merger and acquisition consulting for physician practices, providing due diligence, valuation, and integration services that complemented Jessica's operational improvement expertise. The combination would create synergistic service offerings that could address the complete spectrum of healthcare practice management and strategic planning needs. Texas Medical Solutions, headquartered in Dallas, offered specialized expertise in healthcare regulatory compliance and quality assurance consulting, with particular strength in government program auditing and compliance program development. The firm's capabilities would enhance Jessica's ability to serve larger healthcare organizations that required sophisticated regulatory support and risk management services. The acquisition would also provide immediate access to the substantial Texas healthcare market, which represented significant growth opportunities for practice optimization consulting services. Northwest Practice Partners, located in Seattle, had developed innovative approaches to healthcare technology implementation and data analytics consulting that aligned perfectly with Jessica's vision for incorporating advanced analytical capabilities into her consulting methodology. The firm's expertise in electronic health record optimization, practice management system implementation, and healthcare data analytics would enhance the value proposition for clients seeking comprehensive modernization and improvement initiatives. Jessica's evaluation of these strategic opportunities required careful consideration of the implications for her business growth objectives, personal financial goals, and long-term vision for her role in the healthcare consulting industry. The private equity partnership would provide substantial capital and operational support for rapid expansion, but would also introduce external oversight and performance pressure that could affect her autonomy and decision-making flexibility. The acquisition strategy would accelerate growth and market penetration, but would require significant management attention and integration resources that could distract from client service delivery and organic business development. The decision-making process involved extensive financial analysis, market research, and strategic planning that would determine the optimal approach for maximizing the value of Jessica's consulting practice while maintaining the quality standards and client relationships that had generated her remarkable success. She engaged with investment bankers, healthcare industry consultants, and legal advisors who provided expertise in mergers and acquisitions, private equity partnerships, and strategic planning for professional service firms. Jessica's analysis revealed that the combination of private equity partnership and strategic acquisitions would create a healthcare consulting platform with annual revenue potential exceeding $50 million within 3 years, while establishing market leadership throughout the Western United States and creating opportunities for eventual national expansion. The integrated firm would offer comprehensive healthcare consulting services spanning operational improvement, regulatory compliance, technology implementation, and strategic planning, positioning the organization as a dominant force in the healthcare consulting industry. The financial projections for the expanded consulting platform indicated that Jessica's personal net worth would increase dramatically through the combination of private equity investment and acquisition-driven growth. The partnership structure, with Meridian Capital Partners, included provisions for performance-based equity appreciation that could multiply Jessica's ownership value as the firm achieved growth and profitability targets. The acquisition integration would create operational synergies and market advantages that would enhance the overall enterprise value while providing Jessica with substantial liquidity and wealth diversification opportunities. Jessica's decision to proceed with both the private equity partnership and the acquisition strategy represented the most significant commitment of her entrepreneurial career and would transform her from regional consultant to national healthcare industry leader. The complexity and scale of the expansion initiative required development of sophisticated management capabilities, operational infrastructure, and strategic planning processes that would support multi-state operations while maintaining the service quality standards that had established her reputation for excellence. The announcement of Meridian Capital Partners' investment in JM Healthcare Solutions generated substantial attention throughout the healthcare consulting industry and validated Jessica's position as a leading entrepreneur in the healthcare services sector. Industry publications featured detailed coverage of the partnership, emphasizing the exceptional growth trajectory and performance results that had attracted private equity investment. The recognition enhanced Jessica's credibility in market positioning while generating additional business development opportunities from prospective clients seeking proven consulting expertise. The acquisition of strategic healthcare consultants proceeded smoothly through a comprehensive due diligence process that confirmed the financial performance and client relationship quality that had made the firm an attractive target. The integration planning emphasized preserving the specialized expertise and client relationships that represented the acquisition's primary value while implementing Jessica's operational standards and service delivery methodologies throughout the combined organization. The California market entry provided immediate access to major healthcare systems and medical groups that represented significant revenue opportunities. Texas Medical Solutions presented more complex integration challenges due to differences in service delivery approaches and client relationship management protocols. But the acquisition provided access to specialized regulatory compliance expertise that enhanced the overall service portfolio. The integration process required careful attention to preserving client relationships while implementing standardized operational procedures and quality assurance protocols. The Texas market expansion established a foundation for growth throughout the southwestern United States and created opportunities for cross-selling services to existing clients in multiple geographic markets. Northwest Practice Partners represented the most strategic acquisition due to their innovative technology consulting capabilities and their position in the rapidly growing Pacific Northwest healthcare market. The firm's expertise in healthcare, data analytics, and technology implementation aligned perfectly with Jessica's vision for incorporating advanced analytical tools into practice optimization consulting. The integration emphasized preserving the firm's innovative culture while providing access to Jessica's proven methodology and expanded client base. The successful completion of all three acquisitions within a 6-month period established JM Healthcare Solutions as the largest independent healthcare consulting firm in the Western United States, with annual revenue exceeding $35 million and service delivery capabilities spanning operational improvement, regulatory, compliance, technology implementation, and strategic planning. The geographic footprint included offices in Phoenix, Albuquerque, Las Vegas, Los Angeles, Dallas, and Seattle, providing local presence and relationship development capabilities throughout major Western healthcare markets. Jessica's role evolved from hands-on consultant to strategic leader and business developer as the expanded organization required sophisticated management systems and delegation of operational responsibilities to regional leaders and specialized practice managers. The transition required development of new leadership skills and strategic thinking capabilities that would enable effective oversight of a complex, multi-location professional service organization while maintaining the entrepreneurial spirit and client focus that had generated the original success. The financial results of the expanded consulting platform exceeded initial projections and validated the strategic vision that had guided Jessica's acquisition and partnership decisions. Combined revenue for the first year following the acquisitions reached $42 million, while operational synergies and cross-selling opportunities generated efficiency improvements that enhanced profitability margins throughout the organization. The success attracted additional acquisition opportunities and strategic partnership proposals from healthcare organizations seeking to leverage Jessica's proven business model and market leadership position. Jessica's personal financial position had been transformed through the business expansion and private equity partnership, with her equity stake in the enlarged consulting firm valued at approximately $18 million, based on comparable transaction multiples and revenue growth. Projections? The wealth creation represented 450 times the inheritance money that had been stolen by her parents, demonstrating the extraordinary potential for entrepreneurial success through strategic thinking, exceptional execution, and persistent commitment to excellence and innovation. The contrast between Jessica's remarkable business achievements and her family's continued financial struggles had become a source of motivation rather than concern, as she recognized that her success validated the decision to pursue independent achievement rather than enabling family dysfunction through financial assistance. The distance she had maintained from her parents' problems had allowed her to focus completely on business development and strategic planning without emotional distraction or financial obligation to people who had demonstrated their unwillingness to accept responsibility for their decisions. Jessica's strategic planning for the next phase of business development included potential expansion into Eastern markets, through additional acquisitions or partnership arrangements with established consulting firms serving major metropolitan healthcare markets. The success of her Western expansion had created operational capabilities and market credibility that would support national growth initiatives while maintaining the service quality standards and client satisfaction metrics that had established her competitive advantage in the healthcare consulting industry. The foundation Jessica had built through systematic business development, strategic acquisitions, and operational excellence had positioned her consulting platform for continued exponential growth and market leadership throughout the healthcare industry. Her transformation from victim of family financial betrayal to national healthcare consulting leader demonstrated the extraordinary potential for wealth creation and professional achievement through entrepreneurial determination, strategic thinking, and unwavering commitment to delivering exceptional value for clients and stakeholders. 2 years and 8 months following her departure from Desert Valley Medical Clinic, Jessica Martinez stood before an audience of 1,200 healthcare executives at the American Healthcare Management Association's annual conference in Chicago, delivering the opening keynote address titled Transformational Leadership in Practice Network Optimization. The invitation to present at the industry's premier educational event represented formal recognition of Jessica's position as a leading authority on healthcare consulting and practice management, while simultaneously providing a platform to introduce her expanded consulting capabilities to potential clients throughout the national healthcare market. The conference presentation opportunity had emerged through Jessica's relationship with Dr. Margaret Stevens, President of the American Healthcare Management Association and Chief Executive Officer of Metropolitan Health Systems, one of the nation's largest integrated healthcare networks. Dr. Stevens had been monitoring Jessica's work through industry publications and professional networks, particularly following the publication of her comprehensive case study in Healthcare Executive magazine detailing the exceptional results achieved through the Southwest Healthcare Alliance Transformation Initiative. Jessica's keynote presentation synthesized 3 years of consulting experience and strategic insights into a comprehensive framework for healthcare practice optimization that could be applied across diverse organizational structures and market environments. The presentation emphasized practical implementation strategies rather than theoretical concepts, providing specific methodologies and measurement approaches that healthcare leaders could immediately apply within their organizations. The content reflected Jessica's commitment to delivering actionable value rather than academic theory that might impress audiences without producing tangible results. The audience response to Jessica's presentation exceeded conference organizers' expectations and established her as a compelling speaker capable of translating complex operational concepts into accessible strategies that resonated with healthcare executives at all organizational levels. The question and answer session extended beyond the scheduled time frame due to attendee interest in specific implementation approaches and case study details. Multiple healthcare systems requested follow-up consultations to explore potential consulting engagements based on the methodologies Jessica had presented. The immediate outcome of the conference presentation included 17 formal consulting proposals from healthcare organizations spanning acute care hospitals, ambulatory surgery centers, specialty practice groups, and integrated health systems throughout the United States. The geographic distribution of interested organizations included markets that Jessica had not previously penetrated, including the Northeast, Southeast, and Midwest regions where her consulting firm had limited presence and market awareness. The national exposure provided by the keynote presentation had effectively introduced JM Healthcare solutions to potential clients throughout the country. The largest and most significant opportunity emerged from discussions with Dr. Elizabeth Harrison, Chief Executive Officer of Atlantic Healthcare Partners, a network of 138 medical practices and 12 ambulatory surgery centers serving the Mid-Atlantic region from Pennsylvania to North Carolina. Atlantic Healthcare Partners had been experiencing operational challenges similar to those Jessica had addressed with Southwest Healthcare Alliance, but on a substantially larger scale that would require more sophisticated project management and implementation capabilities. Dr. Harrison explained that Atlantic Healthcare Partners had invested substantial resources in previous consulting engagements with national firms that had failed to deliver meaningful operational improvements. Despite extensive analytical work and detailed recommendations, the network's leadership had become skeptical about the value of traditional healthcare consulting approaches and was seeking innovative methodologies that could produce measurable results rather than theoretical frameworks that proved difficult to implement effectively within complex organizational structures. The scope of work discussed by Dr. Harrison represented the largest consulting engagement of Jessica's career and would establish JM Healthcare Solutions as a national healthcare consulting firm capable of managing complex multi-state transformation initiatives. The proposed engagement involved comprehensive operational assessment and improvement implementation across all network facilities, with particular emphasis on standardizing administrative procedures, optimizing revenue cycle management, and developing coordinated staff training programs that would enhance service quality while reducing operational costs throughout the organization. The financial terms proposed by Atlantic Healthcare Partners reflected the magnitude and complexity of the transformation initiative, while providing Jessica with revenue opportunities that would accelerate her firm's growth trajectory and establish sustainable competitive advantages in the national healthcare consulting market. The network offered a 4-year consulting contract valued at $8.7 million, structured as monthly payments with performance bonuses based on measurable improvements in operational efficiency, financial performance, and patient satisfaction across all network facilities. Jessica's evaluation of the Atlantic Healthcare Partners opportunity required careful consideration of her firm's operational capacity and strategic positioning relative to larger consulting organizations that traditionally served clients of this magnitude. Successfully managing this engagement would require substantial expansion of her consulting team, development of sophisticated project management systems, and establishment of operational infrastructure that could support complex multi-state service delivery while maintaining the quality standards that had established her reputation for exceptional results. The decision to pursue the Atlantic Healthcare Partners contract represented a commitment to establishing JM Healthcare Solutions as a premier national healthcare consulting firm capable of competing effectively with traditional industry leaders while delivering superior results through innovative methodologies and exceptional client service. Jessica spent 6 weeks developing a comprehensive proposal that demonstrated her understanding of the operational challenges facing large healthcare networks, while presenting specific strategies for achieving measurable improvements across diverse organizational structures and geographic markets. Jessica's proposal emphasized her proven track record of delivering exceptional results for complex healthcare transformation initiatives, supported by detailed performance data from previous engagements and testimonials from satisfied clients who had achieved substantial operational improvements through her consulting services. The proposal included innovative approaches to network-wide standardization that would preserve local autonomy while achieving operational consistency and efficiency improvements throughout the organization. Most significantly, Jessica's proposal demonstrated her commitment to delivering measurable value through performance-based compensation structures that aligned consultant incentives with client success metrics. The presentation of Jessica's proposal to Atlantic Healthcare Partners leadership required coordination with multiple stakeholder groups, including the network's board of directors, senior management team, practice administrators, and physician leadership councils. The comprehensive presentation process extended over 3 weeks and included detailed discussions about implementation timelines, resource requirements, and performance measurement protocols that would govern the consulting engagement. Jessica's ability to address complex questions and provide specific implementation guidance impressed network leadership and distinguished her proposal from competing submissions. The contract award from Atlantic Healthcare Partners established JM Healthcare Solutions as a national healthcare consulting firm and validated Jessica's strategic vision for building a comprehensive service platform that could address the complete spectrum of operational challenges facing modern healthcare organizations. The engagement would require coordination across 12 states and involve collaboration with hundreds of healthcare professionals, while maintaining focus on delivering measurable results that would justify the substantial investment in consulting services. The implementation of the Atlantic Healthcare Partners Transformation Initiative required immediate expansion of Jessica's consulting team to include specialized expertise in large-scale project management, multi-site coordination, and complex organizational change management. She recruited Dr. Michael Chen, former chief operating officer of a major health system, to serve as program director for the Atlantic Healthcare Partners engagement, while maintaining overall strategic oversight and client relationship management. Responsibility. Up next, you've got 2 more standout stories right on your screen. If this one hit the mark, you won't want to pass these up. Just click and check them out. And don't forget to subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss any upload from us.